Good morning, 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 good morning. Right? So, good morning, everyone. All right, super cool. So let's go down the line. Um, I so I was buying Rhino books this morning, and I forgot to send it from my Coinbase to Binance. So that's actually being done right now. The point of me saying that was I wanted to come on and say, hey, new all-time high in liquidity pool. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, did I not send it? Like, what the H? So there will be a new all-time high in liquidity pool, I don't know, 10:30. So when you see it, just know in your head, I meant to say it and I am saying it. So record me in your head. New all-time high in liquidity pool. Morning all. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Frida. Okay, so that's that. Rhino bot, I think is done. What's 30? Yeah, right, Brian? So I think it's done. I've been really tough. So here's the thing, my management style, right? So I will put out a task and put expectations on it and kind of generalized, right? Like this is what we want to do. We would like it done by this time. Let's collaborate and see where we get to because we're inventing everything, right? And then when things get to that finish line that I was looking for, like that date, I start to being a little bit more, where are we? What are we doing? What can I do to support you? When we go over that finish line and we're not there yet, okay, we're inventing stuff, right? Or what's another week? What's another week? When we get to a point that I'm like, there's more weeks than I wanted to talk, like we're well past my deadline, I have that talk, right? And I had that talk a couple of days ago. Well, here's the thing. After you have look, Binance, it's there. After you have that talk, it's like anything else in life. When you have that heated moment, and not that it was heated, but when you have a very passionate moment, you got to take a step back for a second, right? Like you can't beat someone up every day. You got to let them heal. So right after the talk, I had full expectations that it'd be done this week. But it doesn't mean that the next day I'm going to say, okay, remember yesterday we talked about where are we now? Let's just leave it alone. So that department got back to me yesterday and said they were pretty much finished with what they were working on. I messaged to this morning, hey, let me know where we are. I'm totally swamped all day, but let me know where we are. I'd like it to be done by tomorrow. Now, the belief is that that department will be like, oh, well, we have it done today. So you give them the opportunity to kind of overperform a little bit, which I fully expect it to be done by today. Because that department also knows if I have to be live tomorrow and not have it done, I'm going to right? So the best update I could give at the moment is I really believe it's in a very good place. That's Rhino bot. Hey, Deb. I got the update on the events for Rhino Street. 1 to 10, it's at an 8.25 was the exact progress line that I got. I told them I would like it done by Monday, so we're going to be working on that today. Well, they will be. I'll be working on all the stuff. So that's that. Yesterday's call, only 21 individuals on. We had another 2 sales, which is good. Because of the 21, I think only like half of them were new individuals. So what we found is the first day we had an average of 55 on the entire time. The second day, an average of 21. Today, I don't know what the expectation is. Maybe, so all the registrants together is 171. That's what we're up to. So 55 plus 21 is what, 76? Meaning there's 100 people that have not joined just yet, which is fine. They'll join when they join, right? Like we're going to do it every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That being said, the email I sent out last night kind of gave a little nudge to it. Hey, we have something special. I don't know what that special thing is. I'll come up with something. Also, by the way, I never actually shared with what our bonus was because we were doing the email stuff. I will put in the email tonight, but I decided that I'm going to match everyone's bonus, but at $15. So for instance, everyone that participated in the last promotion was to go ahead and purchase Rhino at, what was it, $11 or something? To go ahead and receive those. You would receive X amount of Rhino at $11 for upgrading your plan today, right? So there was 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, depending on how much you updated it. upgraded it, right? Which was the reward. And I said, if we got over 50 people upgrading it, I would go ahead and create some type of reward on top of that. And I was really thinking what to do. And sometimes you don't want to get too fancy, right? Like for instance, you're upgrading your plan because you want to receive the reward of extra Rhino at X amount of price. Well, if I come out and say, okay, great, everyone that upgraded, you're going to get free burgers for life. Well, that's because I love burgers. But the person that gets that reward, they're like, how does that even make sense? I upgraded my plan in Rhino to get more Rhino, and you just assume I want burgers? The point being, whether I can think of something better or not, it's best to just, why do it, right? Like, why to be too fancy? So let me give you more of what you wanted, right? Like you're very clearly saying, I'm purchasing more Rhino because I want more Rhino, so let me reward everyone with more Rhino. So I'm going to match your bonus, but at 15 a share. So if you received 1,000 Rhino at 11, well, now you have 1,000 Rhino at 11. And if it gets to 15, you have 1,000 more at 15. And what's cool about doing something such as this is, obviously, if we get to 15, we're kind of like throwing money in the air. Like we're kind of like where we want to be. So do I have 1,000 Rhino to give to you today? No, we're 2.5, right? But at 15, I'd be the happiest person in the world to give you 1,000. I'd be the happiest world to give you 10,000. So it does allow us all to have our motives aligned, our intentions aligned, our goals aligned, and allows us all to celebrate together, which is cool. So I'll put that in the email tonight, but for those that are on, that is, I never mentioned that reward. Point being, I will come up with something similar to that for today's live, and I'm hoping we have 20. I really would like to have 20 people on. Now, what's cool is this is week 1. Week 1 is always going to be week 1. Week 2 will be better than week 1, but hopefully not as good as week 3. Here's some of the stuff we've learned. One, well, not that we've learned, but one of the things that we still need to do, I'm still editing all the recordings, well, the 2 recordings. In which case, once I edit those recordings, which is taking a long time because you have 2 different hour-and-a-half long videos that you have to edit, and I'm trying to splice them together, so this portion in this one was better than that portion in this one. In which case, if I could get that down to say a 45 minute beautifully recorded webinar, we could make that its own sales landing page. And in the emails that we send out, hey, would you like to join the live webinar? If not, here's a replay. Now, all of a sudden, the replay has the ability for you to purchase right there, which is good because now we have our emails doing sales for us. On top of that, we'll have Rhino bots sending people there as well. On top of that, I'm thinking, and I'm just thinking out loud, right? So these webinars, they're fun, but I really think my performance yesterday was not as good as my performance the day before. And I don't like that variance. So I was thinking to myself, well, what if we go ahead and create the replay and then I moderate the replay? Which then brings me back to kind of the problem to begin with, and don't reinvent the wheel. Be live, right? Like nobody wants to see a recording of you, even if you're moderating it. So I'm thinking about that. But also it might just be, hey, Ant, listen, it was week 1. By week 2, by week 3, you're just going to be regurgitating it. It'll be so rehearsed that you'll just know the best process, which I actually think is the correct answer. So thanks for helping me get there, right? So that's what we'll do. It's so funny. I was spending so much time thinking about that, and I have the conversation out loud, and there it is. So I haven't touched the ledger yet. I will be touching it right after I buy the Rhino. So I'm buying the Rhino, doing the ledger, going through my emails because I haven't gone through them yet. Hopefully finishing editing the video, doing the live at 1 o'clock, hopefully done by 2:30. And then at that point, just catching up on all the other stuff that I haven't gotten to. Excuse me. Rhino Welt is really exciting today. We actually made a purchase. We have a 20 red and green that we jumped on. And of course, in true Rhino fashion, right after I jumped on it, I realized that one of the other ones we were waiting on is a 21 red and green. Now, you don't need to know anything about it, what I just said, except that 21 is larger than 20. And what the number represents is an exhaustion metric. Ah, Maurice is like, I'm in both. And the number is an exhaustion metric. So if something is a 20 exhaustion, well, something at 21 is that much more exhausted, which means it's much more of a coiled spring. So that's really cool. I'm hoping it works out well, obviously. Um, what's cool about it is we're already in June and the options, yeah, cool, Deb. The options are for June. So I usually don't go so short in duration. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, they have 14 days to work out. So options are priced by time value and intrinsic value. The time value is how long do you have till you get to the expiration date. And the expiration date is, well, the expiration date is the expiration date. And then the intrinsic value is the expiration date represents a strike price. So for instance, if I'm buying Microsoft, and I don't know the price of Microsoft, I think it's like 200 something, but let's say it's $100. And I think Microsoft's gonna be $105 by the end of this month, right? So I buy the $100 strikes. What I'm saying is, well, I want the ability to call away your Microsoft at $100 because I secretly believe it's gonna be worth 105. So if it's 105 and I could take it from you at 100, I make $5 per contract, right? Now, for you to go ahead and say, all right, Ant, I'll let you do that. You're going to sell me that right. All right, well, I'm not letting you do that for free because God forbid it gets to 105. I don't want to just be out money. So I'll charge you $1. And I say, okay, I'm secretly believing I'm going to make 5. So I'll pay you 1. And that means I'll make a 500% gain. I pay 1, I make 5, duh. But what if it never gets to that 105 or the 100 strike? Well, then I lose that dollar. Like I paid for the right. The point being, if every day that gets closer to the expiration date, the time value decays because now you have less time for that stock to hit that price. And conversely, the intrinsic value is, say that, for instance, that stock goes down instead of up. Well, now you not only do you have less days for that stock to get to that price, but now you have a longer way to go. Therefore, that contract represents those two values. So if the time value is decaying and the intrinsic value is decaying, well, the option value decays, which means I'm losing money. Conversely, if the stock does start moving higher, well, now the intrinsic value of the option goes up. And if the stock goes higher in a very short period of time, well, now look how much time you have left and you're already there. Everything else is gravy. So the option value goes up a lot. The point is, with options, you're not owning a company, you're betting on a company. You're actually buying a contract from someone else saying, I bet you this stock will be this price by this date. And the person says, okay, well, to make that bet with me, I'm going to charge you this. And you say, okay, and then we see who wins. And that bet is calculated in real-time value every second by those two metrics. So if you're good at it, you make a lot of money. If you're bad at it, you lose a lot of money. And it is one of those things that you have to be quick, right? Like if you can't be prideful. If you're down money, you can't sit there and say, all right, I'm down, but you know what? I'm just going to wait it out because it's not a stock. Like a stock, for instance, say Apple goes down 10 points and you're really upset. Well, you still own stock in the company. There is no expiration. You could hold it to in perpetuity. You could give it to your grandchildren, and eventually the belief is Apple will go back up. With options, that isn't the case. You're not owning the company. You're owning a bet that expires on a certain date. So the point being that a lot of times with options, the hardest thing to do is to take a loss because everyone is very prideful. Oh, well, I own this company. It's so great. I'll just hold it. I'll hold it. Well, that's great, but you passed the deadline and now the thing's worth 0. So the point is, to be involved with options, you have to be very, very good at understanding the pivot points, like when something is gone too far, when it might reverse. You have to know a lot of the outside noise, but also be able to read the technicals and understand the fundamentals as well. And you also have to be very mechanical, very disciplined. Okay, this is going against me, let me get out. Okay, this is going well, let me not be greedy, let me take it. And that's what Rhino Wealth is, right? So we have a 91% performance rate because our algorithm is really good. And you know, I've lost enough money in my life, and the nicer way of saying that is I've paid a very expensive tuition to learn options. My father, who I don't have a good relationship with anymore, but when I was younger, when you're a kid, you always want to do everything your dad does, right? And my father was an options trader. So when I was 10 years old, he was buying me Christmas CD-ROMs, if anyone remembers that, for the computer, of options. So I'm about to turn 37 in 10 days. So I've learned options for a very long time. And even with that still, I've lost a ton of money in them. but I'm much better than the average person. So that's the value proposition that's Rhino Wealth. Okay, cool. I went off on a tangent of stocks because I do like it. I'm hopeful that we make money, please. And that's that. So, oh, Twitter. So we went ahead and last night turned on our automations again. And what we were doing is every new follower to 2 industry leaders, we then messaged and said, hey, a personalized one, dependent on their last tweet. So if it was like they love ham sandwiches, yeah. If they like ham sandwiches, okay, great. We see that you love ham sandwiches. This is why you should join Rhino. That the link sends them to sign up to the webinar page. And I believe we probably did like 5,000 tweets last night. I mean, it really is that quick. You know what? Let me even just take a look. Hey, Nike's getting back up there. That's pretty cool. For anyone that's in, including Maurice, Nike's 103.93, which is higher than the 103 it was this morning. So let me take a look. Actually, I could just do a share screen, right? Like we could all see it. There's no secrets over here. Okay. So this is our Zapier page. Refreshing it right now so we can see the amount of zaps. So before I show you this number, before yesterday, the amount of zaps was 10,000. So now when we hover over it, we should be able to see 12,000. Okay, so we did 2,000 tweets last night. And what do the tweets look like, right? So when we go to our Twitter page, not those, but let's see, not those. That was from this morning. Where is it? Where is it? Come on. Okay, so here it is. So it goes to Rhino Hood. So this is what they all look like. So these are individuals that were new followers of one of the 2 industry leaders. It says their name. Your trading analyst skills make you a perfect fit. Rhino is Dogecoin 2.0, stable and approved. We'd love to have you. There it is, right? So there it is. And there's 2,000 of these. Right, so 1,000 of them are valid, 1,000 are not valid. What I mean by that is in Twitter, you're not allowed to actually tweet at someone automated, but we did a workaround. So we tweet at someone automated and it doesn't let us do it. So it takes the at out, but then we're able to go ahead and automate our own because when you tweet at someone, it also goes on your timeline. So you can't tweet at someone, they take the at sign out. But you can go ahead and retweet at yourself. And if we tweeted at ourselves someone else's name, then we can go ahead and retweet at ourselves, repeat tweet and put the at in front of it, which really is now we're tweeting at the person because their name is our tweet. So if we just put an at in front of our tweet to ourselves, it automatically goes to them. So it's a workaround, right? Why is lesbians trending? That's weird. Oh, today's the first day of National Pride Month. I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently this month we celebrate LGBTQ, which is fine. I have no problem with it. I just didn't know that existed. Okay, so I want to show you this. Oh, so let's look at something because I do want to see this number. How many people are actually going to this page? So we could just look at it together. So analytics, conversions, all pages. What's the name of the page? I already forgot the name of it. Hold on a sec. Here we go. I'm sorry, I have my head floating over here and it just makes everything terrible. So the page they're going to is not this. It's a webinar sign up page. That's not it. I think this is it. Okay, so the name of this page is Join Rhino's upcoming webinar event. Okay, so if we were to take a look at this as in yesterday and today. Okay, so we had 319 visitors. Now this whole goals button isn't being tracked properly because I have to go ahead and put the code in the page and I just haven't figured out how to do it. It's really quite obnoxious. But the point of this is 319 people have visited that page. And of course, that's some of them were from the email because the email had it, and then some of them for the Twitter. So we need to do a better job identifying where they're coming from. But the point being, Yesterday we had 167 registrations. Today we have 171. That's 4 additional registrations on 319 new visitors. That's not a good conversion rate. But it is a conversion rate, right? Like we've always said, is let's do it and then just make it better, right? Like you have to get it done successfully to do it better. So if our conversion rate was 0, well, then we still wouldn't figure out how to have done anything. But now that we have a conversion rate, now how do we improve it? So the point of me sharing all this about Twitter and our emails for that matter is the numbers that you're seeing today will not as be good as next week, because now we have more data and we have done something successful to know, okay, well, now we need to do this. We need to improve this. So we have that 50,000 zaps for Zapier for our Twitter. I want to figure out how to make it more convincing. So maybe that zap to someone is, hey, we're giving away 5 Rhino for joining this webinar. Get in there, hurry up. Look, Rhino has a real price. Like you could sell it right away. Like, I don't know. The point being, we have levers to pull. And when we get that number increased on top of doing the webinar so many times and getting better at the webinar, plus having the coin moving up because you have all these new people getting in and the liquidity pool moving up and all the rest, it's starting to look like all the things that are good are happening at the same time, and they're all being built on the previous good thing. It's in Rhino, I guess in anything in life, the difficult part is not growing it, it's building it. Like you could always say to anyone, hey, I have this great idea and in a year from now we're going to have it. Well, you don't know what you don't know over that next year. There's going to be a bazillion things that go wrong, plus that person has to trust that you're going to be able to navigate it. That's difficult. But then after you build it and you have a foundation where you see things are growing, well, now you're just pouring gasoline on it, right? Like now it's like, let me not F this up, let me just do more of what's good. And that's where we're at, which is a really good thing. So regardless of how long it's going to take us to get to utopia, that's not my concern, right? My concern is let's not kill the golden goose. We obviously have a goose that's golden right now. It's working. Everything's working. Everything's going exactly the way we want it to. So in my mind, does it mean, okay, everything's great. Now let's go ahead and pour steroids on it and gasoline on it. And let's just keep going. No, relax. Let's go ahead and do it correctly. So we're still doing all these testings and things, and I'm happy to share that data with you. So that's that. I'm rambling again. 2 new messages. Do we have a personal link to this? Frida? No, not yet, but that's what I want to do. So that's the next step, right? So I'm going to complete the editing of the webinar today. I want to make a page for that. In which case that page will be twofold. You'll have an affiliate link to it, and your affiliate link will reward you for one of 2 things. A, the individual joins the webinar, or B, the individual joins Rhino, like purchases into the plan. And I gotta think how that happens, because you never want to have a page with 2 calls to action. But maybe the page will be something to the effect of, hey, join our webinar. If you're unable to make it, watch our replay. Either way, you could join. I don't know. I have to think about that one. Because you don't want to have 2 calls out. You don't want to confuse people, right? Like if this page is join the webinar, join the webinar. But if you have a replay of the webinar, then why couldn't you just I have to think about that one. The point being, Anthony, please post a link to Twitter account. Oh, Nike's 10366. Yeah, you should have it, Miss Deborah. I posted and it's actually, our Twitter account is also in Rhino Hub. So when you go to Rhino Hub, the main page of it is our Twitter account. But there you go. Got it. Oh, I did to host and panelist. Here you go. Oh, all right. I love you so much that I don't want to go, but I have to go so that I could tell you more good things tomorrow. Because if I just sit here with you all day, I won't have anything good to share tomorrow because I would have done nothing. That sounds rude. Talking to you is not nothing, but we need to do. I sound bad. Okay. Love you. I'll see you later. Bye. And go Nike and go J&J.